Right, just bear with me for 2 minutes. I'm just checking out that it is viewable online. And we will be back with you in 2 seconds. Video meetups. We'll edit. Right. Just sorting out the technical issues now. Okay. Just updating the page. Okay. Just updating the page. Right, we're live back on air again now. Sorry about the technical issues. I had to start up a separate chat. So if you go to the same page, which was advertised, there should be a new video stream just below the first half. So we're going to kick off the second half by inviting in Jeff Haddon, who is the owner of this place here, 5 Clondalkin Drive, the birthplace of Dylan Thomas, and we can ask him a few questions about how he acquired it and how things had to be changed to get it back into the kind of look and feel of how it would have been in the days of Dylan Thomas. So I'd like to welcome Jeff.
Hi, Robbie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Right, would you like to start off by telling us a bit about how this place was when you first acquired it and how it's changed over time?
Well, if you can imagine a very bad student house, like a bad student bedsit.
Right.
This room, for example, has stood the test of time and had nicotine-stained walls. You know, the colour of walls when pubs had
like a yellow tinge.
That's it. And which I suppose went back to Dylan's father, who was a pipe smoker, so that was probably why it was underlying colour of that. And every other room was in fairly poor condition. Structurally, the house is in poor condition. I think if the roof hadn't been seen to in about 5 years' time, it was starting to fall down. So we had quite a lot of work to do to put it back into the condition it might have been as a new house in 1914.
Right.
And that was the objective, to start it all off.
So 1914 was when this street was actually...
This was when the house was built.
Right.
And the Thomas family moved in August 1914, so just about 100 years ago today. They would have been in this house cleaning, dusting, moving furniture, waiting for the birth of their young baby son, who came along in October.
Very good, very good. So, I mean, I suppose it's taken a lot for you to actually find the bits and pieces which on the decor that makes it what it is today to look like it was back in those days?
It was a challenge. Everything in the house has come from within 20 miles of here. All the furnishings were bought either in car boot sales, charity shops, auctions. A friend's mother died at the age of 90, having lived in the same house all her life, and her furniture was just the sort of furniture we were looking for.
Right.
But the main thing that we found when we were doing the work, we met a lady, Emily, who was a maid who lived, she'd worked in this house, she didn't live here, for 5 years when she was 15 and Dylan was 16. Right. So she was able to tell us exactly what the house was about, the colours, the furnishings, right, the people, the house routine, the layout of the house. And she was absolutely invaluable in setting the foundation, really, because out of that foundation we were able to read Dylan's stories, some of his poems, and his letters in particular, which gives you little clues about the house.
Right.
Some straightforward descriptions, but some little pieces which, once you know one little bit of the jigsaw, you're able to put another little bit together.
It was a bit of a detective job to actually piece things together then.
Yeah. And we also found the sons of Emlyn Davis, who was the man who lived here after the Thomases. So they were able to tell us what their father had done to the house. And luckily, their father didn't have much disposable income, neither did anybody else. Yeah. So nobody was tempted to modernise the house. And poverty is a great conservator. And this is what happened in this house. The wooden windows are still here, the doors, the skirtings, the fireplaces. Everything was the main parts of the building were here. So it was a question of putting it all back together.
Right. Was there much photographic evidence that you could have a look at the house, or none?
Virtually none at all. There's one photograph of Dylan's mother in the living room in front of the tea table, and you can see a traditional Welsh tea, not very much else. Yeah. And there's one photograph of Edmund Davis outside the front of the house with a couple of Americans who came here. But Edmund was a great Dylan fan. He was a poet, and he was a calligrapher. And he used to do beautiful calligraphies of Dylan's poetry. And a little story about him: when he first met Dylan, there was an advert in the local paper, which is the forerunner of the Evening Post, right? Asking for contributions to a new poetry magazine. Contact the editor, 5 Cwmdonkin Drive. Right. And he was living down the road, and he turned up here and knocked on the door. And he met this 15-year-old boy who was the editor of this new magazine. And he very quickly realized, and I think Dylan very quickly realized, that here was somebody who might be able to finance this new venture. And this is what the conversation was about, was how he was going to finance the new poetry magazine. Right. And he went back to his wife full of enthusiasm about this. And his wife really tore into him and said, look, we've got 1 or 2 children, another one on the way. You're a teacher. Teachers' salaries are being cut through the Depression, and you're wanting to spend money on a poetry magazine. He never did. And then later, after the Thomases had moved to Bishopston, he was the person who took the house over.
Oh, right. And he lived here for quite a while then?
Well, he lived here till he died in 1973, and his wife survived him, and she moved out in about 1982, and that's when it was put on the market. Right. And it became a bed and breakfast for a couple of years, and that petered out, and it became student accommodation. Right. It was a student house, really. The kind of place that if you were looking for a student house next year and you had a list of 10 places,
Right.
this would be number 10 on your list.
Yeah.
And you hope that number 9 would ring you up. You didn't want number 10.
Yeah.
And I think students who lived here and have come back to the house, they've all said that it was the coldest house they've lived in. I don't know what the central heating was like in those days. Because there was no central heating when the Thomases were here.
Usually an arbor or something.
Well, there was a range of the kitchen which heated that back end. But, it was all coal fired.
Right.
So if you lived in a house with coal fired, you know that you light the fire about 6 o'clock and it's cold.
Yeah.
About 8 o'clock at night it's just nice and warm. 10 o'clock it's so hot that you can't breathe in that room. And when you open the door and go out, it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
It's all those different temperatures. So not a very efficient way of heating houses.
It's quite a sizable house to be honest.
It is. It's much bigger inside than from outside. It's a bit of a TARDIS.
Yes.
And if anybody from Doctor Who is watching, then this is a great place to have a Doctor Who adventure.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah. Dylan Centenary Christmas special in the Dylan Thomas Birthplace. You heard it here first.
You run tours here as well. How many days a week do you do that?
We run every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
We also have events here.
Yeah.
Like this is an event.
Yeah.
We run Edwardian dinner parties, so you can eat as maybe the Thomases did in Edwardian times, and they're great fun. Sometimes people come dressed in character. Yeah. Sometimes they have somebody who can play the piano, and it's a lovely fun evening.
Yeah.
And you can stay here. You can stay overnight. In fact, last night we had 2 couples from America. And their reason to come to Swansea was, firstly, they were great Dylan Thomas fans, and they'd never, they hadn't been to this country before. So and they also discovered that the twin sisters, and they discovered one of their ancestors was married in Swansea, in St Mary's Church, in 1829. A man called Driscoll, and they'd known very little else about him, so they were going off to investigate that today. Before driving to York, which is a fair old drive. As Americans realise the
distance,
what the roads are like in this country.
Yeah, totally alien to what they've got. I mean, it is a great venue, and people can get in touch with you guys via your website, which is www.dylanthomasbirthplace.com.
That's right.
And you also have a Twitter feed and Facebook, which can be got to through your website as well.
That's right. Yeah, and the Facebook account is very active.
Yeah.
Matthew, who you heard from earlier, looks after that, and is always looking for new things to put on it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Poets Hub will be on again soon.
Oh, definitely. We'd love to come again.
And outside looking at what's going on, there are quite a few people out there who are tuning into this. The more the merrier.
Exactly. And what a good place, well, the best place to do it in Dylan Thomas's birthplace itself.
That's right.
That's good. Well, thanks very much, Jeff.
That's my pleasure.
And I'm sure we'll hear from you again.
Great.
But I think we'll crack on now and perhaps get Natalie back in to do some more poems.
Yeah, the versified residents of the Dylan Thomas.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. Doing a cracking job.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. If you can ask Natalie to pop in.
I will certainly do that.
So hopefully you found out a little bit more about this place. Like I said, you can go and have a look at the website, which is www.dylanthomasbirthplace.com, and find out more information, or even if you wanted to come and have a tour, or maybe in future we may be able to do like a virtual tour or something, and put it on their website and put it up. You excuse me whilst I slurp a well-deserved cup of tea. I think we won't be doing much Q&As now. We'll just carry on with the poems and so on. So I'd like to bring Natalie back in to do some more pieces.
Okay.
Welcome back, Natalie. Right, if you'd like to let us know what you're going to do now, and do however many you want to do.
Okay. The three of you then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's great.
I think I'll do some of my Greek mythology ones. I love the Greek myths, and I like to put them in the modern context.
Right, okay, bring them more up to date.
Yeah, just play about with them and just see what they'd be like in modern day. So this one's about Achilles basically going to the psychiatrist's office after the Trojan trial.
Okay.
Achilles counts to 10 in a plastic chair outside the psychiatrist's door. This is not like being called up to army. His name is a ribbon of silk when she whispers it, snaking perfume round the door, and he snarls, scrabbles in his belt for a spear, free hand flapping against magazines, and his propped up shield, the bronze unblinking eye. She breathes at him through her nose. The bastards have stripped him of everything, scrubbed him baby clean of glory, the crusted blood of Hector, marbled against porcelain, swirling away for Jaean. Post-traumatic stress. She dips the words in hot iron, scorches it into his history with an arrow full of ink, earrings swinging, understanding his outbursts, his frowning obsession with flashback fields of wildfire, the persistent itch in his heel, and the blood-wet Trojan sputtering, dragged face down through his dreams.
Thank you very much.
The next one's Medea. This one's actually showing at the moment in the Odeon in Swansea.
All right.
It's the myth about Medea, who, to get back at Jason, who left her, killed their own children as revenge. So this is from her viewpoint. Medea. I stand in the bedroom, sweatless, admit to the dagger, the rage, and the kids, who looked like you, had the eye of the cooler Jaean, with Argonaut bravado and a traitor's blood. Our babies. I nursed them with love and a knife to save them from sins like you, my lullabied young. Like you, they were forked in the tongue. But I was once young, a charming girl, head over claws in love with you, protective, faithful as any good angel. My crocus light, bleaching a brother's bones. You could say I became obsessed. I had you possessed, but Corinth tore us apart. Still, I can't resist revenge. Death now, shaking the house to its dead foundations. The children's gasping surprise. Oh, the look in your eyes when you found them, coiled like little white worms, or the curl of a gorgon's hair. She may be princess, but I am queen, Medea, monster maternal, with blood in my breast and a glint in my milk-white eye. Revenge is a kick in the womb.
Good.
Shall I finish with one final one?
Yeah, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Yeah. That's great.
This one was more inspired by the poet I mentioned earlier, who's Brian Patton.
Right.
So I was reading a lot of his stuff and then wrote this, which is completely different to the other one. Time, like a calm pedestrian, passes, and suddenly you find yourself in your black lace knickers and your early 20s, feet cold and bald, in a house nothing like your childhood home. Lipstick and mold, your teenage years dead on the rug, A miniature hell, this grey affair, with a fusty smelling settee, and a bottle of something red, taking acid breaths upon the ring table you used to stub up menthols. Suddenly you find smattering, and so it goes. You quit smoking and sulking, chew gum for days on the stairwell, the landing, the bathtub. The mirrored room reveals everything but yourself. Another shadow slips in beside you, and suddenly you find yourself single as an armchair, stuck to his front like a monkey, his muscled pack of warmth. Your spine unzips itself, and suddenly you find yourself open and gasping, newborn blue and just as needy. Home trembles and calls you back in your mother's voice, and suddenly you find yourself caring at long last, finding in your own shadow the dead stain of another waving back, his face on the face of the moon. And suddenly you find yourself, alive and well, looking back at someone not quite yourself, and something that may or may not have been love, leaking from under your rib. That's all then.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I quite like the twist on the actual more ancient stuff.
Yeah.
It's very good to. I'm not into mythology myself, but
Yeah.
looking at them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
Brilliant.
like messing about with that sort of stuff.
Yeah. A bit different to my. Mine's usually dark and
Yeah.
horrid and death, destruction. I mean, but yeah, very, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think David's. Is David still here? Is he coming?
Yeah, he's still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you could ask Dave to come on, and we'll do some more as well then.
Okay,
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you very, very much. Interesting stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of forms of poetry, like S.J. Alexanderson was saying earlier on, the cats, and people can write about birds and nature and death, destruction, and so on. Welcome back, David.
I'm back. Thank you.
Back for another part.
Yep.
So, if you want to introduce it and tell us, is it a carry on from what you were reading before, or is this a different short story, or?
It's another episode from the Life and Times of the Swansea Festival.
Brilliant, brilliant.
And this actually is the opening chapter, which is just a mirror image.
Brilliant. If you'd like to carry on, that'd be fantastic.
The secret of life is honesty and fair play. And if you can take that, you've got it made. I once thought the only reason I gambled was to hasten the time when I wouldn't have to. But I was wrong. I love the dark history, the whispering corners, and the shady characters. The Grosvenor Casino, Swansea, 2006. Welcome to the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. A social establishment where the first prize, more often than not, is going home broke. For every winner, there are 20 losers, and still counting. But still they come, the no-hopers, dreaming of hitting the jackpot. The chancers, the charmers, the happy-go-lucky punters, and every betting freak you can think of, including me. I'm standing at the cash desk. I need some money for the poker game. The cashier gives me a form to sign ascertaining I take responsibility for my own actions. I'm supposed to sign my name under the words, gambling does not cause problems or obstacles in my life. I can't help but laugh. How do I know? I've completely failed to get married or have children. I never get enough sleep. I don't eat properly. When I travel, I only see the inside of the casino. I spend my nights playing poker instead of catching up with old friends. I spend the daylight hours doing much the same, when I could be walking in the park or learning Japanese. I don't know where my kitchen is. I don't collect stamps. I can't cook, and I definitely don't knit. But I have made a living out of playing poker, and besides, the thought of a 9 to 5 is never inviting. And there's Joe with his bad boy grin and hair as white as the clouds in a movie. He's sitting at one of the poker tables surrounded by drunken boys out for a night in the town. Little do they know he's an old-time grifter, a dull gambler as gritty as a half-completed road, and deeply aware of the inherent failings of human nature, and has been playing poker for 50-odd years. 50-odd years of remaining taut, restless, and aware of everyone's trace but his own, and who always wanted everyone to be real but himself. 50-odd years of perfect integrity and scaring hell. On a bad night he could roll dice and sleep in drunks and chew a bottle of cork at the same time. But that was Joe, the eternal gambler, untouched by coyness, and forever in search of El Dorado. For the days of fast cars, frisky birds, and breaking the bank are long since gone. Van McCoy and the hustle is just a memory. His blue eyes no longer sparkle. He walks with a limp, and his face has turned to copper. But I always enjoyed the mercurial delight of his company. He was someone to root for, and as amiable as snow on a Christmas postcard. He could ride with the hounds, yes, but his heart was always with a fox. He once told me, whatever you do in life, always give it 100%, unless you give in blood. He also told me, marriage is like a deck of cards. All you need is 2 hearts and a diamond. But 10 years later, you'd wish you had a club and a spade. He never got married. I first met Joe back in the mid-1960s on a dark afternoon in Mumbles, and the tea had buzzed. He was sitting in a pub, ribbing the girls and playing three-card brag, and the clientele loved him. He was like a corrupt sheriff in Dodge, a merry prankster, always avoiding the system, but as solid as the Welsh hills. But Joe never played by the rules. He loved to win, and greed is contagious. Flashing his best Bogart Lear, he was caught cheating and banned for life. But Joe wasn't bothered. There were other gambling haunts, and besides, casinos in Swansea were becoming stylish. The days of chasing rainbows, just like jangling spurs, fast draws, and full-length dusted coats were over. Candyland was just around the corner. I was about 19 when I first ventured inside a casino, and boy was I amused. It was like the black hole of Calcutta, a cesspit of suited bodies serving beer to the beat of wishing and hoping. But there was something about the atmosphere that felt healthy, a kind of movie glamour, sprinkled with gullible road, but all suppressed by the jingle of cash machines. It was in the back room of a dance hall called the Embassy Club, and where every social misfit in Swansea gathered, and where a lifted eyebrow counted as a frenzy. But it was good fun. The punters loved it. 5 bob on the black with 10 bob on the red was a way of bucking the system, or escaping the humdrum of everyday life. In other words, a duel with chips, and if you won, a chance of getting a girl, or at the very least, the taxi fare for them. But as I said, that was a long time ago. You can now drink at the tables, eat chocolate, chew candy and gum, order steaks the size of Texas, play the slots, watch football at Coronation Street on a big television screen, wine and dine with no time constriction. In America, the suitors even slide between the poker tables plying their trade, shouting their offers. Girls in short dresses with huge southern beehives and Barbie lipstick. If you could choose one adjective to describe the casino today, then that adjective would be un-Islamic. But what of me? Have I changed? With the coming of internet poker, I suppose I have. I've become twisted, crazed, gnarled, and bitter. The life like is turning grey. The sweetest sugar of all, fluffing the donks, has turned sour. The kids today have too many hormones. They play with gay abandon, like sailors on shore leave. Money is no longer a tool. They are reckless, uncaring, and blissful of reality. Bad beats are 2 a penny. They love gambling. They are truly sick. Half of them don't even know which way the chair is supposed to face. It's like living in Berlin the day the Russians came. But the game's clean now, most of the time. The sleaze is gone, but old habits still die hard. I've just watched Joe palm a 25-pound chip from the pot. But why, I ask myself, to which, later, in a moment of confidence, he replies, because I can. But it's nice to see a face from the past, someone always ducking and weaving, someone who always dreamt of being out of the ordinary, and who, a moment later, inquires, what are you doing staying up late? Staying up late? And I think for a moment. Staying up late? When I was a kid, I loved staying up late, if I was allowed to. It was like finding a shilling and being wicked, and seeing what the grown-ups got up to. It was mystical, magical, and scary. However, I would have preferred it if he had said, how's your luck? Then I could have replied, crap, I'm on tilt. But he doesn't. And my luck is bad. I've been on a losing streak now for almost a month. I couldn't hit a barn with a scattergun. The drift of life is tough. The last time my ship came in, I was at the airport. I've got more chance of finding a monster in a lock by the name of Nessie than I have of winning. In fact, my luck is so bad. I went to a bar the other night, looking so grumpy they wouldn't serve me. It was happy hour. But the romance of the cards still lurk. If I didn't play poker, I'd feel like a caged lion that once lived in the wild, or even one that never did. I would still know I'd missed or I'd lost something. Poker to me still spells guns, booze, big hats, salty malt and riverboats, and it always will. It's like a flash of gold in a prospector's pan. But a mist hangs over the tables and I feel melancholic. Those who live in the past, most of the old-time gamblers, storytellers and scoundrels have gone. Drifter Grubb, Minty, Charlie the Thief, Dan the Man, Leslie George. The list is endless. Some have died, some have not. This is a place where players disappear, do bad things, knock friends for money, end up in jail or abroad, or wherever their dark place is where the illicit players go, and they always will. The cards have no memory and seek no solace. And I agree, said Joe, as he was reading my mind. Fancy a drink? And I watch him swagger to the bar like a kid with issues. There are plenty of criminals in casinos. They learn not to ask too many questions, and Joe was one of them, a man of the night. But beneath that death-ray glare, and just like me, he was always a musketeer in search of saving a king. And anyway, what is the idea? To live like kids forever. Live like kids forever.
Very good. I can't wait to get my hands on this book.
Oh, that sounds good. Well, I'll get you a few copies if you like.
That'd be brilliant.
10 grand. 10, that'll be alright.
Yeah. Thanks ever so much.
Smashing.
If you could ask SJ to pop back in. Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
fantastic. Thanks ever so much. Very gripping stuff. I mean, sounds like that's going to be a great book when it's all put together. Maybe we'll showcase it on Poets Hub. Right, in a second we're going to have back SJ Alexanderson. Here the man comes himself.
From the belly.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much indeed.
And if you'd like to tell us what you're going to do now, and
well, I thought I might do a bit of topless dancing, but I don't know whether the internet's ready for that yet. Maybe we'll pass on that one, eh?
Indeed.
Forgot me tassels anyway. I thought I'd give a couple of poems.
Yep.
First one is one called Colours of the Night, and it's about a sailor. I hope you enjoy it. It's quite a dark one. It's a bit autobiographical, this one. So here we go. Colours of the Night. As the sun lays down in the western skies, the colours speak to you, and the moon rises up with a cheesy grin above the briny blue. The blackening sky and the whipping winds and the horses white and grey break over the bow with a monstrous crash that leaves you to pray. And the boat lifts its head to find a way to reach somewhere to hide from this scowling night and the rolling waves of this death-inducing tide. 'Tis then you should make your peace with the Lord, for land it is hours away, and you know in your heart that it's down to Him if you live for another day. At this time of night when the ocean talks and calls your name out loud, well, it's then that you know that your time is close, though you be a mariner proud. And you fight, and you fight, and you fight so hard to keep yourself alive, but the sea does its best to steal your soul and take you away from your wives. And you fight, and you fight, and you fight some more with your knuckles turning white, and the warm blood flows down your fingertips as the north wind takes a bite. You choose, you choose, you choose your life. And it toys with you till it's late in the day and late in your life, and you're hanging on due to fate. Now your world's spinning round. Now it's upside down. Now it's back to front in the scale. Next you're overboard and you're drowning, oh Lord, and you wish that you'd never learned to sail. For you know tonight will be the death of you, as the squall is biting at your bones. You should have listened to your gut today. Instead, you will lie with Davy Jones. And it's true what they say about moments in time going through your mind at the end. Goodbye, my children, and farewell, my many wives. There will be no funeral to attend. No, the children wait for their father who is lost. But he sleeps deep down beneath the sea. They will break their hearts for the man who is gone, spilling salty tears over me. And the sun lays down in the western skies again, with colours so beautiful and red. And the moon rises up with a cheeky, juicy smile, and the big disappointment is I'm dead. Good. Thank you. And then my last one tonight is my famous cat poem mentioned earlier on. Nothing against cat poetry, but nothing much. It's just I prefer serious subjects to write about and to listen to. So here we go. I'll go straight into it. It's called Nothing to Say. Please excuse the language in this. There are a few obscenities in it, but I think once you've heard the finished poem, you will understand and be able to relate to it. You can see that flippant poetry, such frippery, no, I don't really like and I don't tolerate. So here we go. Nothing to say. Just what is the point when you've nothing to say? When your own mundanity lays siege to my day? Do I care of your cat, or your garden, or more? Do I care of the jollies behind your front door? Why fuck? When you speak of some wonderful moments in time, how you spend holidays, drinking cocktails and wine, how you lie on the beach while sunning yourselves, and how you've amassed your personal wealth, do I care? When you open your mouth, nothing comes out, nothing but garbage, nothing of clout, and I look transfixed, like I'm trapped in your dream. All I want to do is to shout out and scream, get a life, get a life. Do you know of the world that we live in today? Do you know of the price that some people pay just to exist and to care for their own? Yet you're petty and feeble and too quick to moan, because the car needs a service, the dog needs a walk, the neighbours are nosy and sometimes they talk behind curtains about this and about that. Oh fuck, here we go, yeah, and then there's your cat. And you can only purple, because that's what they'd say. You're going to rebel against age on this day. Well, do it, but please, I said, please leave me out, because the world is dying. Of that, there's no doubt. For the ozone is going, our times are an end, so play your charades, for you can pretend that your life, it is perfect, but your life, it is bland. Oh, take your head out of that hole in the sand, because there's killers and rapists and pushers and pimps and psychos and druggies and robbers and gimps, and those who take pleasure in mocking the meek, whilst governments aim to help keep us weak. There are natural disasters and wars everywhere, and yet money talks, but it doesn't care that pain is abundant, that pain is the norm, that we're all facing up to a huge global storm. And it's dog shit, and horse shit, and bullshit all round. For the truth, see the bodies that lie on the ground in Gaza, in Syria, Iraq and beyond, whilst Ebola's escaping from out of this pond. And it's death for the martyrs, and death for us all, as our planet implodes like a punctured football, and we're lost on a journey that takes us through space, and it's over. It's finished. Goodbye, human race. But the cats will survive. They've got 9 lives, you know. They've invested in spacesuits, and they're set to go on a journey through time to a planet that's new. What's real lie dead. And it's sad, because it's true.
Very touching piece.
Thank you, I think.
It does show, you know, that people do write, you know, but there's a lot of things to be said about writing about the real world and the state of the world as it is at the moment.
Absolutely. We don't live in utopia.
No.
Utopia doesn't exist. No. It's nice to think that that it could exist, but it doesn't. And I think that poem encapsulates the pretty sad state of the world that we live in today. And that's what I've tried to capture within it. I hope the swearing didn't disappoint you too much, but you know, sometimes you have to vent your frustrations.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks ever so much.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure for being here. Thank you for inviting me today.
No worries.
And hopefully see you next month.
Yeah, definitely.
If the invite comes back.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. I think we're going to have Matthew now. Matthew Hughes, the manager of this place now, to say a few thank yous before we close off for today. And here he comes. Here's Matthew with a few thank yous.
Oh, a lot of thank yous, actually.
Yes.
It's been a great night. We've heard some wonderful new material from some great up-and-comers. There are a couple of thank yous that I really have to say they've been very supportive of tonight. One goes to a gentleman called Tom, who runs the online Richard Burton Museum. You can find him on Twitter at Burton Museum, and also richardburtonmuseum.weebly.com. And of course, another great supporter of us who pumps out a lot of information, invaluable information about Dylan Thomas online, is a chap called Andrew Daly. And I totally recommend you to go and check him out on Twitter. You can follow him at Dylan Thomas News, and also at his website, dylonthomasnews.com. Fantastic support. Thank you ever so much, guys. It's been great tonight. Agreed. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Well, it'll be the first Wednesday of next month. We'll give you more details and write a blog post to accompany today's video casts. But I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. And if you didn't manage to catch it live, then it will be on the website. And I will be giving the links to Matthew to put it on their website, which is www.dylonthomasbirthplace.com. And I'm sure we'll have the links on our social media sites as well.
And of course, if you'd like to get involved with Dylan Thomas Birthplace, we're always on the lookout for up-and-comers and creatives to maybe come and showcase, as we have done tonight, all in front of a live audience here at the house. It could be anything to do with the arts world. It doesn't matter if you deem yourself good or not very good. We're all here to help and support each other and to help with your creativity. If you want to get involved with Poets Hub and this live stream like tonight, please drop Robbie a message. You can be found at poetshub.com and of course via Facebook and Twitter as well. Just drop him a line and hopefully you can make it to this fantastic house that we've got here.
Thanks for tuning in. We're going to stop the broadcast now. So thanks once again, and we will see you next month. Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.